Welcome to RTNC, the Congolese National Radio Television, broadcasting from Kinshasa, the capital city of the Democratic Republic of Congo, on 100 FM. It's time for news.
We thank you so much for joining us on 100 FM, coming up with top stories, radio and sport. This is the theme of World Radio Day. Day celebrates today all over the world. You will learn more about in this news program within podcast, interview and soundbite. Carl's death in Kwilu and Kwango provinces, which make the headlines. The former Prime Minister Adolphe Muzito exchanged on Mondays on the issue with the current Prime Minister Bruno Tshibala in his work office. Massacre in Jugu territory. The Vice Prime Minister of Interior and Security Emmanuel Ramazani Shadari inquires about the situation on the ground. And in South Africa, President Jacob Zuma refuses to resign from his duties like his party, ANC, asked. We thank you so much. I'm John MVUABIKA reading the news from Kinshasa. $5 million is the amount of the funding of a three-level administrative buildings of the provincial government of Congo Central Province. President Joseph Kabila unveils the buildings within the governor Jacques Mbadou-Situ. Cars from east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo are passing away in Kwango and Kwilu provinces. The population said to be afraid of the ethnic conflict with those cars gatherers and Nigeria from the east. The former Prime Minister Adolphe Muzito exchanged on Monday on the issue with the Prime Minister Bruno Tshibala in his work office. He promised an emergency investigation on the ground to find out the real cause of the death and of cars in the so-called invaders. The armed groups in the east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo said public disturbance. They pushed the local populations to displace to the neighboring villages and countries. That's the reason why the Vice Prime Minister of Interior and Security, Ramazani Shadari, inquires about the situation in Jugu, whereby massacre is recorded during the fight between Hema and Lendu tribes. The United Nations Security Council supports the electoral process in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. This announcement was made on Monday on a stage in New York. It was during a special meeting on the DRC. The External Affairs Minister, Leonard Okutundu, led the Congolese delegation. He said the Congolese government refused the involvement of the international community in the inner matters of the Congo, like the pollings, which are, according to him, a duty of sovereignty. However, the U.S. diplomat Nikki Haley said it's good for the Congolese authorities to be flexible to earn support from the international communities and cooperate with them for the well-being of the population. This is the RTNC News Program. The world celebrates today Radio Day under the themes Radio and Sport. The United Nations Scientific and Cultural Organization has chosen these themes to foster the vital role of the radio across the world. On the occasions, messages from the UN diplomats highlight the media, such as Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, gives a message in the frame of World Radio Day. He said radio reach a large audience across the world. In the digital world, radio keeps going with its potential connection. Radio entertains, upbrings, informs, and inspires us. It gathers together communities, reinforces flames, and enables vulnerable to make their voice. Mr. Guterres said with the Olympic Games of the coming winter, it's time to call all of the transmission channels of sport events bringing people together. In this World Radio Day, we pay tribute to the radio and sport as being a vector opening to all opportunity, he said, by radio programs. UNESCO Chief Executive Manager called for unity to celebrate Radio Day and for peace, stability and development. Mrs. Maria, in charge of communication at the UN Women, explained the importance and souvenir she has about the radio. His voicing here on Janine Muika's microphone.
Radio is for me the favorite media. I worked myself several years in the radio, and even if now I'm not working in one, I think it's a really important media. I think It's really accessible for all people. I think you can get a lot of good information from radio, and you can also have a lot of entertaining programs. I think it's a really useful media because you can use it at the same time you are doing other things. I put radio when I work, for example. I think life without radio will be difficult and less nice. So I think radio is a really important media. So in this radio day, if you are not listening to radios nowadays, please start, because it's a really nice way to live, to listen to news, to have entertainment programs. I think you should all have a radio in your life. So turn on your radios and listen to it. I do have a good example of why it was the radio useful in my life. I remember I was with my mother taking breakfast, and at home we were speaking, and suddenly we listened to the radio that it was 11 September. I was 10 years old, and I remember it was these accidents, and it was a hard moment to listen into the radio what was going on in the United States, and it was my first source of information, so it was really important for us at the moment to listen to it. After we could turn on the television, but our first source of information of the accident in the United States on 11 September was the radio. So radio is a really important media.
And Albert, the counselor at the Ministry of Media, speaks about radio contribution in the people's advancement of society development and education. He's voicing on Janine Weka's microphone.
I can say is that the radio is help. It's a very good help, which is making people understand and be in contact with different people and different cultures, especially for media and the radio, a specific kind of media, which is the radio, the sport. Sport also is something which is united people, and it's a different kind of a sport, feminine or masculine or men or a woman. Yes, what I have is that sometimes when our football teams go abroad to play, and then we are following all activities by radio, and that way exalting, even when we were in some regions of the country, maybe the national team may be playing somewhere, and you follow all this thanks to radio. So radio is a very good help, it's a good channel which is making communication between different cultures and different people. So this is a very good day, international day. Everywhere, even the Champions League, especially for football, they start first fair play, which is called the fair play in French. This is everywhere. When you start a sport, they say this is for peace, this is for understanding between people. So for sport, we don't need violence, and people are urged to make one culture, one international culture, one continental culture, one country, and different cultures. So I think that this is a very good help. This is radio, is to translate, is to communicate information which are positive to the advancement of the society. Not for the violence or not for war or strikes, but radio is the best channel that people can follow. The information for peace, information for development, the information for education. So the radio is to promote all these values.
Journalists are supposed to be professional for the good use of the radio and its promotion, says Albert Dieka.
If you use positively the radio, then you have a development, you have an understanding. But if you use the radio in a negative way, then it destroys the population, then it makes war. So we need good journalists, best journalists, professional journalists to promote the value of the radio, because the radio is for education, for promoting peace.
And Anna Maimona Ngemba, a chairperson of YokoFM, she talks about the importance of radio in a rural area. The radio is first cheaper to buy than television. Let's listen to her on Janine Weka's microphone.
The radio is an important tool of communication and information. It helps people to be informed about all things, and radio is especially very important for women, for people in rural space, and you can use radio easily. You can use radio simply because it's cheaper to sport to all people while listening to the radio.
This is the RTNC News program. It's 24 past 3 p.m. in Kinshasa. And the new generation called Internet generation is also aware of the importance of the radio and says to like radio for their improvement in life and their education. David Ebunu on Zerelungu's microphone.
After me, of course, it's important for me because the radio remains essential despite the events of news, technology, of information and communication, and wherever we have it, like in car, phone, in internet, even TV too. So wherever we can listen to it.
I remember the World Radio Days is about radio and sport. A remembrance in October 30 in 1974, the two American boxers Muhammad Ali fought versus George Foreman in the capital Kinshasa. The fight was organized by the late President Mobutu Sese Seko at Tata Raphael Stadium. Radio covered the highlighted event for millions of listeners across the country and bordering cities. Muhammad Ali knocked out George Foreman and won the fight. How radio played its roles in covering this event, close up and comment with our colleagues reporters from the U.S.
Age against youth, the experience of Muhammad Ali against the youth and brute force on blinding speed. You can hear the band beginning to strike up in the background as Ali moves to the ring. This is what Muhammad Ali lives for. This is the man's life. This may be a historic event. Muhammad Ali coming into the boxing ring for the last time. Should Muhammad Ali retire, this will be, what you're seeing now, a very historic event. Should Ali win the title tonight, it definitely is an historic event because he will have to definitely go down in the history of boxing as one of the all-time greats. His handler, Angelo Dundee, brings him in. And there you hear the sound of Ali Boumaier. That's what the local people say, and you can see Ali is getting a standing ovation from some 70,000 yesterday in attendance here as he dances behind the American flag. Muhammad Ali will be gloved in the ring, as will George Foreman. How about it, Jimmy? Any thoughts on what it's like for an athlete to go into the field of battle?
It's tremendous pressure, Bob, no doubt about it. But I think along with the pressure, there's a great feeling because it's like once in a lifetime you can do something that's great that maybe no one else can ever do again.
One thing that's very important as we take a look across the ring at Muhammad Ali bouncing around is Dr. Ferdy Pacheco, a physician, a man that certainly has the ability to help the aging former champion Muhammad Ali should he get in trouble. And of course his handler, a man that's been with him all the way, Angelo Dundee. I have to give the corner strength to the Muhammad Ali group based on the just sheer fact that George Foreman was cut. There's a possibility that he could be cut against. Ali has lashing, cutting type punches. He's got tremendous speed in his hands, still has good speed of foot. Just how much speed in this humidity, we just don't know.
This is the end of this news program. Let me refresh you with the headline, radio and sport. This is the theme of World Radio Day. Day celebrates today all over the world. You have learned more about within podcast, interview and soundbite. Cow's death in Kwilu and Kwango provinces, which make the headline. The former Prime Minister Adolphe Muzito exchanged on Monday on the issue with the current Prime Minister Bruno Tshibala in his work office. In South Africa, President Jacob Zuma refuses to resign from his duties like his party ANC asked. Goodbye.
C'est avec plaisir de vous retrouver à ce matin. Actualité du 8 mars, dames et messieurs, il est exactement 6h pile au studio de la RTNC, au microphone John MVUABIKA. Un seul titre dans cette session d'information. 8 mars, une journée sans pareil pour la femme. Cet événement biennal met en valeur le vertu de la femme et ses grandes réalisations. Une occasion propice pour les Congolais de garder les yeux rivés sur la femme rurale. Celle-ci alimente et prend à bras-le-corps les charges de la société. Femme rurale, grande productrice, à revenus anodine. Voilà ce qui inspire déjà le thème au niveau national, investir dans la force productive. C'est la femme rurale, priorité pour la République démocratique du Congo. Mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue. Tout d'abord, l'actualité nationale avec vous, Nadine Makundi.
Retour dans la capitale depuis lundi dernier. La délégation mixte présidence de la République, ministère de Mines et ministère de Transport, revient de Luau en Angola. C'était pour la rouverture du trafic ferroviaire entre l'Angola et la République démocratique du Congo. En tête de la partie congolaise, le vice-premier ministre, ministre de Transport, José Makila.
La République démocratique du Congo fait partie de la SADC.
Voilà, il est 6h14 à Kinshasa. Comme je voulais annoncer dans les titres, 8 mars, c'est déjà aujourd'hui, journée mondiale de la femme. Les femmes maraîchères de Kinshasa montent au créneau. Elles se disent déconsidérées dans la société et pourtant, avec leurs propres moyens, du reste minime, elles participent au développement du pays à leur manière. Pour ce faire, elles en appellent à l'autorité afin de leur permettre à jouer pleinement leur rôle. Valérie Sandra Anaziela, reportage.
Travailler la terre comme le font si bien ces femmes n'est pas chose aisée. Un travail harassant qui demande beaucoup plus d'efforts physiques. Foulard sur la tête, vêtu parfois d'un pantalon ou d'un vieux pagne et des chaussettes pour se protéger des insectes. Ces femmes travaillent dur pour faire vivre leur famille. Veuves ou mères au foyer, en situation précaire, chacune a une histoire, une raison particulière l'ayant menée à exercer ce métier. La femme rurale en République démocratique du Congo est confrontée à plusieurs difficultés et attend beaucoup du gouvernement.
John MVUABIKA vous remercie d'avoir suivi au nom de la radio-télévision nationale congolaise, nous disons